I don't think we could dance around it too much longer, though, Matt. Should we get into this first segment here? We're going to be talking about the crypto crash. Sort of some of the things that are going on, and then towards the end, breaking down some of the real material basis here. Because prepare yourself. A lot of these kind of whiny libertarians are going to try to use this moment to take aim at institutions that we should have a hell of a lot of criticisms of, but not the ones that the right wing will be making.
Absolutely. Well, first, to start with this crypto thing. Well, we played the Winklevoss playing "Don't Stop Believing" in the cold open. We also they also played Rage Against the Machine. It's not Testify. It's the one where some of those who work forces are the same that burn crosses.
Mhm.
Great song. Interesting coming from Silicon Valley tech investors. Yeah, they had to announce layoffs. You go jam out after you have to do something hard like lay off a bunch of people. But the Crypto Brothers cited difficulties related to current macroeconomic and geopolitical turmoil. It forced them to slash jobs for the first time since they founded Gemini in 2014. Today is a tough day, but one that will make Gemini better over the long run. I'm sure that feels good for the people that let go. Constraint is the mother of innovation, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so the Twins' band is called Mars Junction, and they do have upcoming tour dates.
Well, I guess they have a lot of time now.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, the Gemini layoffs also came amid a lawsuit by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission accusing the company of making false and misleading statements concerning a Bitcoin futures contract the firm was pursuing in 2017. So tough stuff. You hate to see anybody lose their jobs. It would be nice to have this economy structured where good paying jobs wasn't helping pump bullshit scams for tech bros. We have some other stuff though. More sympathetic than the Winklevi is the Golden State Warriors. Now, I like both teams in the current NBA Finals.
Mhm.
I'd be very rationally speaking, I'd really like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart. I like those guys win a title at the young age. That's very interesting to me. I must say I have found myself rooting for the Warriors. Steph Curry, like at the age, I think it's because I'm like that generation of age where it's like I want to see them still get it done a
Mhm.
little bit. So like I found myself pulled towards the Warriors. But if I wanted to hate the Warriors, there's one element of it that I would emphasize, and it's their crypto bullshit. So folks might, if you tune into the NBA Finals, have seen this advertisement in the most recent in Game 5. For those
Jesus Christ.
listening, it's a whole bunch of tweets saying crypto is dead, and of course,
Dated different times.
yeah, like everyone's always knocked it when people have lost their hats. Crypto's dead, long live crypto. That's Coinbase. So go to the Warriors. Here's an article in SF Gate by Gabe Fernandez, good reporter. How a $2 trillion crypto crash is even affecting the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors got into NFTs last April. They announced this one here, which people can see. It's a 6-sided ring which has all the world championships of the that the Warriors have won, going back to I believe when they were the Philadelphia Warriors, my understanding. That sold at the time for almost $1 million, $970,000. Okay,
Jesus Christ.
which is a lot of money, and that was at the height of Ethereum was peaking at that point. Really a good time for crypto as opposed to now. Fast forward, so in April 2022. The Warriors returned for round 2 of NFT drops. The focus of the series was on the future rather than the past. I would just like to make one note on this, actually, before we move on. So the Warriors are about to win a 7th. They're about to win a 7th championship, which means that like the 6th championship ring, it's kind of like how Tom Brady, did you hear about him? He auctioned off this football, the last
football he ever threw. Yeah.
auctioned off for $500,000 or something like that. And then the next day comes back into the league and unretires is the funniest thing. And I mean, that's actually what's going to happen to the 6-sided ring when they get the 7th one. I mean, first of all, that doesn't, I want to make this clear. that's not the only reason this is going to lose in value. It's going to lose in value because all of them, none of them are selling for the original price they were bought for. Maybe
Totally.
not none of them. That might be a
And
exaggeration. Go ahead, David.
just want to remind folks, especially people who might be listening, that the ring we're talking about is not a real thing. It's an NFT, picture of, or a
Yes.
small short video. Yeah.
But the funny thing that they do with this stuff is they'll actually throw in like, oh, we actually got a real ring from like a jeweler to throw in, which is like, okay, yeah, that's like the
You
real.
better if you're paying you nearly $1 million.
Exactly. So keep that in mind, right? So, and that's where this other stuff comes in because people, I think, I realize they need a little bit more than just this digital receipt. Give me some fucking access. Give me some backstage, some backstage access, some fun events, exclusivity. So, the new NFT drops focus on the future, not the past. The value of the new NFTs was supposed to be connected in part to how the Warriors do this postseason. NFT buyers, which like they're doing very well, so this should be great for this perfect conditions for this experiment. How the Warriors do this postseason. NFT buyers receive additional utilities and benefits. I mean, it sounds like fucking Democrats talking about healthcare plans. For every round the team advances. This includes coveted fan prizes like autographed jerseys, again, actually valuable real things. And a seat on the championship parade float. Okay, that's weird. There was an additional twist to the second drop. Buyers didn't have to put their money into crypto to purchase almost any of the NFTs. The only exception to the rule was the aforementioned prize, jewel of the collection, one of one NFT called Gold Bar All Access Pass, only available via Ethereum bid. In addition to the NFT, the winning bidder is supposed to receive a physical gold bar, which we estimated the cost of about $9,800, and 2 tickets to every Warriors playoff game. Again, that's a very valuable thing. Never mind the fucking NFT, right? There's no reason for this to be on some sort of extremely redundant accounting technology. People have been doing tickets for basketball games for a while. But it's safe to say the Warriors fans are not dying to acquire the team's 2022 one-of-one NFT. The highest bid that the item ended up at 10 Ethereum, valued at the time of the bid at $30,000, now valued at about $20,000 after the latest crypto dip. That's 3.5% of the 2021 one-of-one item sold for. It's also not even close to the 25 Ethereum buy now price of Warriors set, and hardly shattering records as the team predicted. The physical gold bar itself that's included with the NFT is worth, as far as we can tell, about half of the total value of the one-to-one package. So you're buying a gold bar and doubling the price of that gold with a really expensive sort of climate not attacking receipt. And as for the rest of the nearly 3,000 NFTs originally valued at $500 a piece, things aren't going much better. At a glance at the lower end of the sales offers on the team's 2022 playoff NFT collection shows that at least 49 NFTs are already being resold, which means, shit, I put fucking money into this and I need actual money back, are already being resold at buy now prices below the value they were purchased for just a month ago. So like fucking sports fans that don't know shit saw the Steph Curry ad saying, you're not an expert on crypto, but you don't need to be with this fancy app. You can do it securely. And now they realize, well, I got some fucking useless thing that I was told was going to be the future. Thousands of other NFTs on the page have been made available for bidding without the option to buy now, but only 2 have received actual bids and neither are serious. For instance, after selling for $500 on April 15th, the Golden State Warriors 2015 championship ring number 18 NFT's highest bid sits at $21.
Jesus Christ.
So yeah, let's not go here yet. So let's save that.
Oh, sorry. I thought you got your sound drop on. No, I mean, I just wanted to add some context here that, I'm sure everybody has seen the headlines by now that the crypto market as a whole, and I'm using just common language for this. Please don't give me any of those, whiny comments about, well, Bitcoin and Ethereum are different and NFTs aren't cryptocurrency at all. No, we all know what we're talking about. I don't care what they want to brand these things as. This entire market that was able to be propped up by extremely low interest rates and a market system where people who had money were trying to find things that were going to balloon up in value because the rate of return on investment and actual existing production has been tightening over the past few years. There's been a huge crisis in the cryptocurrency world. Bitcoin has shed nearly 70% of its value since last fall. Which, remember what that means, that all the people who came in late are now being holding, using this kind of terminology, they're the ones who are left holding the bag. So they're the ones who are holding this asset, which has depreciated in value. So they bought high and now they're going to sell low, which is the opposite of what you want to do in investing. And this comes after a lot of pariahs and influencers and this entire media apparatus that was pumping up Bitcoin as a surefire thing, crypto in general, Web3, whatever, as a surefire thing. And now we're seeing the floor completely collapsing here. The total value of these cryptocurrencies has fallen nearly $1 trillion just in the last month, which is down from a peak of $3.2 trillion last fall, right? So this has been historic and massive amounts of loss. Stable coins like Terra have plummeted. Lending platforms like Celsius, which we're going to come back to later, they actually blocked users from withdrawing funds, right? That's how bad this crisis has been. And remember, especially when we're talking about groups like Celsius and these kind of influencers out there, people were being encouraged to take on these leveraged loans, right? Which means if you start to see this kind of depreciation, then you need to start showing up with some collateral, right? This is pushed by these kind of pariah influencer characters who are extremely nasty people. Who, and now people are having to sell their actual maybe physical assets like their car or a home or something like that to meet the demands for collateral, right? So we've seen an entirely bottoming out of this industry, and we're going to break down a few of the ways that this is affecting everyday people in just a moment. But like, this is the context that all this stuff is happening, and I just want people to remember, like when Matt and I first started talking about this a few months ago, right? Hell, not even a few months ago. We've been talking about this for years now. We got, oh, you don't understand it. Oh, I'm just sitting here high and mighty on the returns that I've been getting on my investment, right? Why are you guys so jealous? It's because from the get-go, we saw that this was a scam, and was a scam in the most classic capitalist way. All the stuff that, the people like the twins are getting in trouble for, these are kind of financial schemes that have been played with financial assets from the beginning of any kind of centralized capitalist system, right? And watching this all play out in real time, when we know what happens when the cycle ends, everyday investors, normal people who are scraping up, maybe a couple grand or something like that, money that's hard for them to come by because they're being told by all these people that this is a sure thing, are the ones who get punished the most. And just lastly, before we move on, Matt, I just wanted to know, just on the sports metaphor, or not metaphor, on aspect, I was watching, and we can't play it here because Yahoo's pretty bad. They get us in a lot of trouble when we play their stuff. But I was watching some of their roundtables they've been having, and they had a couple of these Bitcoin YouTubers on there to talk about the market. And the Bitcoin YouTubers are like, "We always knew this would happen. We told people that they needed to be careful and know that this is a long game, not a short game." One guy compared it to the boom and bust cycle in retail, right? Saying, "Oh, well, I used to sell shoes at the mall in right before Christmas, and I knew at the end of Christmas season that a lot of people were going to lose their jobs," right? So this is exactly the same thing. Well, no, it's not, because the difference between what you were actually doing when you were selling a physical object to people who needed it, one, just to wear, and two, because people give gifts around Christmas time, right, is actually related to productive activity, versus this, which was always a speculative asset. And no, it's not a cycle of like, oh, Christmas or this quarter or that quarter. It's when were the conditions going to be such where people had a lot of access to cheap cash to be able to pump up things like this. And then the crash is when it happens, when that dynamic changes. Oh,
Yeah.
and lastly, sorry, on the sports thing, the worst pivot, Matt, ever, right, was after talking about, how he knew Bitcoin was going to have troubles, but don't sell, blah, blah, blah. He then said, "Well, I'm also going to be launching a Web3 NFT collection for college football players going into the next season." And it hits on so many things for me. So I'm a big supporter of name, image, and likeness. I think that college football players and college athletes in general should be getting paid for all the value that they create. And it's been a horrible exploitative system for a very long time. But one thing that's always worried me about the era that these guys are coming into right now, without kind of financial counseling, and with a lot of people who are willing to sort of sell them this kind of snake oil stuff, is that they're coming to a market that's being pushed by people like the Golden State Warriors, by people like LeBron James, by people like Jay-Z, saying that this is a set and done deal. And all of these guys now are, launching these NFTs for themselves at a moment when that market is just completely crashing, right? And it just shows you how many nasty people are out there trying to take advantage of folks who might not know, how dangerous and risky these kind of investments can be.
Yeah, I mean, before we get to the Howard Schultz sort of reprise, I forgot about this tweet, but this fucking drove me insane. Haley Lennon on Twitter. I've been saving money the last year for a house. Now the housing market is insanely high and Bitcoin is insanely low. Might go all in on
Lord
Bitcoin
in heaven.
instead.
Yeah.
This woman is a contributor to Forbes crypto. Forbes, which is like, again, we're talking about like being a dumb guy in Barnes and Noble in our early 20s and not knowing shit.
Yeah.
Forbes is like, okay, I want to get serious about money. I better read Forbes. So you got this absolute charlatan going in and saying like, maybe Bitcoin housing, wonder which one it is. And I mean, like, and also come to find, somebody pointed out in the replies to me, Binance invests in Forbes. So,
yeah, no doubt about it.
And like this stuff is a challenge to financial elites.
There are so many threads and trails we can go in that I just we have to be disciplined. But there is a thread here that's very important too, that none of this stuff happened. All of the conditions are set by political economy, by Federal Reserve policy, by government policy, right? But two, the crisis in media, right, where media outlets have been so gutted and are so willing to basically do whatever their financiers tell them to do, plays a huge part in this game too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's get to Howard Schultz quickly.
Yes, please.
So here is,
and also shout out, we got more Union Starbucks here in Texas and one in Oklahoma City. I mean, that movement is just blazing forward right now.
150, I believe, locations. And we had a Trader Joe's guy organizing. And, like just to hear how workers in different jobs are inspired by, I mean, it makes sense, obviously, but you see Starbucks workers can do it. You see Amazon workers can do it. It's exciting. Here is the famous pitch by Howard Schultz, and we'll go on. There's a new update to this.
Okay, let me give you another tidbit. I shouldn't say this, but what the? Okay. I'm not a digital native, obviously. Raise your hand if you're a digital native. That's not a very strong hand. Who's a digital native? No one? Adam Brotman's a digital native. Okay. How many people have followed what has been happening with NFTs? Wow. How many people have participated in investing in NFTs? How have you doing? Okay, for now. Okay. So if you look at, I've tried to be a student with all this, not being a digital native. If you look at the companies, the brands, the celebrities, the influencers that are trying to create a digital NFT platform and business, I can't find one of them that has the treasure trove of assets that Starbucks has, from collectibles.
So anyway, complete bullshit. Really.
No, I mean, that's this. That's the ex-CEO of Starbucks there, going on about we're not going to let y'all unionize. I'm also going to threaten to take away your health care if you're trans.
Yep.
As a threat against a unionization effort. But look, me and my friends at the top of this company are trying to find a way to get into this piggy bank of NFTs. And only now, this was a few months old, so like only now we're seeing that whole thing bottom out. But I mean, it just shows how out of touch this guy is, and why this was just such a bonanza for corporations just trying to find ways to squeeze as much money for themselves as possible.
Yeah. Now, Jordan Zakarin of More Perfect Union, was it More Perfect US? Yeah, More Perfect Union. Found this part of follow up here, which is very interesting. I might speed up just a little bit, but this isn't going to go the well.
Rachel Ruggieri, you too. There was a comment online: least boring CFO, Rachel Ruggieri. Okay, who wants to get started?
Linda. Rachel, you blew me away.
Oh, thanks.
Unbelievable.
Now that's a compliment.
Okay, hold on.
Fantastic.
Here he is.
Hi, my name is Mark. I'm a 10-year partner. I'm a technologist. I've been in technology since I was 12.
Wow.
And as a technologist, growing up, especially in the early O's, I would hop from company to company because technology moves. Why stay in one place? This is twice as long as I've been anywhere. So as a technologist and an open source advocate, because technology should be for people, Starbucks has been super, super glorious to work for because it's about people, it's about coffee, it's about passion, it's about all of us here together, right? Making something better, for making the world better. And not because we're trying to make money, but because we're trying to make people closer together. So when
Somebody says in the chat, corporations are cultish, and yeah, we will make a little bit of apology for that. Yeah.
the technologist comes up and says, hey, you know what, maybe NFTs aren't a good idea. People in finance, people in marketing will tell you differently, but you should probably talk to the people in technology about what they think, because first thing you'll learn is that the blockchain, whether it's proof of stake or proof of work, the NFT, the whole thing is not planet positive. Regardless of how you spin it, it is going to destroy the planet, which seems diametrically opposed to what Starbucks is about. And it makes me as a technologist, and I'm not the only one, very worried about that this company would go in that direction, because I don't want to feel like this about Starbucks. I've enjoyed my time here. I've enjoyed helping build this company with you guys too long to watch something as important as keeping the planet alive go completely. You're getting snowed, and I don't want that to happen. So that's my statement. My question is there any way for us to consider finding another way to be more inclusive? Because the other thing NFTs does is excludes people, because you have to be in the chain before you can be counted. You want that for all of us? I don't think that's where we want to be as a company. Just, that's my 2 cents. I'm just going by, but that's it.
Skip a little bit ahead here so we can see the response.
Yeah, I can take that. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for everything you've just shared, the passion and transparency.
And that's basically what you get. Like, we'll take that into consideration. But I found that pretty fascinating. Like, yes, you have like the cultish aspect of it, but I think what's underappreciated is how much these companies are doing internal PR to get the people that make their day-to-day operations go on board with what's happening. So you have this crisis for Starbucks right now where they're union busting, and their workers at the actual stores, the people that actually give coffee to people, are saying we are not being protected by the corporate. And it's fascinating to see like the attempts, like how are they going to try, what shiny objects do they have to distract the folks from that sort of thing? Like, I'm not sure how much of an ally that guy is going to be on the unionization thing of it, but I just think it's fascinating, like the amount of like trouble corporate America is in with fighting off this unionization stuff. And yeah, the NFTs make an appearance.
And, on top of that, like the trouble that, government officials are in from, people like, we always love to play that Booker clip, but Gillibrand too has been pushing this just shamelessly. My own governor here in Texas, Abbott, has taken the disastrous and extremely dangerous step to basically invite these Bitcoin miners into our failing grid. And over this last weekend, we've been hitting highs here. And there's been a lot of worries about the electrical consumption in Texas, that we might be facing blackouts. And thank God, the system didn't fail over the weekend. But when you're thinking about some of these groups that are now like taking incredible amounts of energy off of the grid, because they've been invited in by the governor and other local officials to do that, because they can say like, look, we're revolutionizing the system. Y'all wanted to see something done about the grid here in Texas. We have these really interesting fellows who spend their time on the computer doing some stuff over there. I don't really understand it. Like, look at this new shiny thing, basically, to try to distract from the crisis. So like, here, the political and social crisis of the grid here at Starbucks, the horrible worker rights abuses, right? They've been using this not only as a way to make money, but to sort of paint themselves as progressive and forward-thinking organizations. And yeah, I mean, hats off to that guy, because it certainly takes a lot of bravery in that moment to say something. But yeah, I mean, this is just such a theme and a thread throughout all of this crypto stuff that we've been covering here, is that it's basically used to distract people from the real fundamental problems, that they're facing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, because that guy has all the right values, or at least he exhibited there. It's just, you've had a life that you've worked at as a technologist at corporations, but like to like even. This is why like he can't be misanthropic, because people are genuinely good. Like, genuinely, when he said like, what can we do to be more inclusive because this stuff keeps people out, you see people in the background cheering him on and clapping for it, and like I like that.